As the leader of the country, the future is very much the same. We, the young generation, need a better future.
Pro-democracy activists say that the elections aren't free or fair and accuse the military of skewing the system in their favour. The junta drew up a new constitution in 2016 that gave it the power to appoint all 250 members of the upper legislative house. The electorate only votes for the lower legislative house, which has 500 members. The combined votes from both houses select the prime minister. The changed rules also mean that even those who have not been elected are eligible to be prime minister, which paves the way for Army Chief Prayut Chan-o-cha to hold on to the top job.
MPs in the UK are looking to seize control of the process for the UK's withdrawal from the EU. They're set to vote this Monday on whether or not to force through a series of so-called indicative votes, which would show support for various Brexit options, including withdrawing Article 50, that is, staying a member of the bloc. This all comes as British Prime Minister Theresa May gets ready to meet her cabinet amid growing calls for her to step down. Peter O'Brien reports.
On Sunday, Brexit's big hitters descended upon the Prime Minister's country residence for a crisis meeting.
Are you looking forward to it, Boris?
Theresa May joined fellow Conservatives, including Boris Johnson and Jacob Rees-Mogg, as she scrambles to win over opponents to her withdrawal plan. MPs voted down her deal twice, and the EU has now given the UK until the 12th of April to offer a new plan or leave without a deal. Now, Parliament is taking matters into its own hands. This week, it'll hold a series of so-called indicative votes to gauge support for various alternatives. Meanwhile, UK media have been reporting a possible cabinet coup to force May's resignation. But ministers tipped to replace her have been quick to dismiss the rumours.
I don't think that I've any wish to take over from the PM. I think he's doing a fantastic job. Well, you'll have to talk to other people, not to me, about rumours of plots, I'm afraid. I mean, I'm not attracted by plotting. I don't have time for plotting.
Citizens are also making themselves heard. On Saturday, organisers estimated a record 1 million pro-Europeans marched through central London. And an online petition demanding Brexit be halted passed 5 million signatures.
Chinese President Xi Jinping arrives in Paris, having dined on the French Riviera with President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday. Deals of cooperation on nuclear power, clean energy initiatives and some lucrative contracts expected to be signed. But Macron has made it known that he wants China to deal with the EU as a bloc. As he arrives from a trip to Rome, Italy has signed up to the Silk Road infrastructure project. One other EU state's fear could give China too much sway. Now, a Kenyan teacher from a remote village has been awarded a $1 million prize, the Global Teacher Prize. Peter Tabichi teaches science in a village plagued by drought and famine. He's credited with helping many of the students stay in school and to qualify for international competitions and go on to college. The school he works in has no library, no laboratory and only one computer. He says he's going to use the money to improve its facilities.
This one, I'm going to give it back to the society, okay? Because myself, I'm a brother, okay? Our needs are catered for, like food, clothing, and everything. So I'll be so happy. In fact, it is a great moment that the society is going to benefit.
Okay, if you're just joining us, our top story this Monday is Donald Trump saying he's been completely exonerated. Democrats begging, however, to differ. The reactions to the conclusions of Robert Mueller's 2-year investigation. It says there was no collusion between Trump and his campaign team and Russia when it came to the presidential polls. However, on the issue of obstruction of justice, questions do remain. Time now for Focus. And today's report takes us to the city of Diyarbakir in southeastern Turkey. It's dubbed the country's Kurdish capital. It's a strong support base for the pro-Kurdish People's Democracy Party. 4 years ago, that party won local elections there, but most of its candidates were then replaced, seen by Ankara as a threat. The party fears that the same could happen in local elections again, set for the end of this month. Shona Bhattacharya reports.
Gule is dressing her children for the biggest celebration of the year. Nowruz is a Persian tradition that's also celebrated by some 40 million Kurds across the region. It marks the first day of the new year, but it brings back painful memories for this mother who had to flee her home in Syria.
It's been 5 years. It's so difficult.
The family left Kobane 5 years ago. They're now living in Diyarbakir, the capital of Turkey's Kurdish region. Once they're dressed and ready to go, they leave for the festival. Tens of thousands of people are gathered here. There's music, dancing, and a bonfire to symbolize a fresh start. For many, celebrating Nowruz means marking their Kurdish identity. This 65-year-old grandfather was born in Turkey, but always refused to speak in a language other than the one he considers his native tongue, Kurdish.
The celebration means we're still here. We won't give up. It's a matter of honor.
At the podium, a succession of fiery speeches. This year, Nowruz fell just days before municipal elections. Turkey's HDP, the pro-Kurdish People's Democracy Party, is combining culture and politics with a rally.
I believe that as Nowruz ushers in spring, this election will bring hope and a fresh era for the people.
4 years ago, the HDP had won municipalities in Diyarbakir and in the region, but the majority were replaced by technocrats from Ankara, and it could happen again this year.
The replacement of 96 mayors was like an attempted coup against Kurdish politics. We're now running elections again, and by again threatening to replace us, it is a threat against democracy and the will of the people.
In the crowd, HDP supporters call their political enemy by his name.
Who is Erdogan? I'm not afraid of him. We are celebrating our Nowruz. Our friends are in jail and they are on hunger strike. For them we will stand with HDP.
We elected the lawmakers and local officials. What right do they have to replace them? And they don't have the right to remove the people we choose. If they do it again, we will protest in the streets. If necessary, we'll go to the mountain.
Going to the mountain, a code for joining the Kurdistan Workers' Party, the PKK. The Kurdish guerrilla group launched an armed struggle against the Turkish government in 1984. It's classified as a terrorist group in Ankara, but also in the United States and the European Union. And it's precisely because the ruling AK Party considers the HDP to be linked to the PKK that it justifies replacing its elected officials in the name of national security and the fight against terrorism. This AK Party candidate explained the government's position.
What the president said is this. If the HDP do as we say, why would they need to be replaced? But until today, all of their members have surrendered their decision-making power to Kandil.
Kandil, the name of the mountains in Iraqi Kurdistan where the PKK has its headquarters. As the celebrations wind down, the family from Kobane makes a wish, a Nowruz tradition.
Our wish is to have a country. We suffered injustice from Turkey, Iran, Syria, all of them. Yes, soon. I think so. God willing.
That wish is less and less likely to see the day, even as it's passed on to the young generation.
Let's catch up now with the latest from the world of sports, starting with the Euro 2020 football qualifiers.
France coach Didier Deschamps could name an unchanged side as the world champions welcome Iceland to Paris for match day 2 of Euro 2020 qualifying. Kingsley Coman won't be risked after the Bayern Munich winger withdrew from the starting 11 during the warm-up of their 4-1 win in Moldova on Friday. Deschamps is taking the match seriously, especially after France needed 2 late goals to avoid a friendly home defeat to Iceland last October. Well, I knew back then, the friendly against Iceland, that they're a very good team. It was certainly a difficult match for us. I think it won't be difficult for us to perform better than we did in Gangon back in October. Their state of mind, their DNA is always to make sure they don't give anything away. So we have to respond and make sure our mentality is that of world champions. France will wear a vintage-style commemorative jersey to mark the centenary of the French Football Federation as they aim for 2 wins from 2 in Group H. Nico Schulz's last-minute winner saw Germany edge the Netherlands in a thrilling Euro 2020 Group C qualifying victory in Amsterdam. The Dutch levelled just past the hour mark, having trailed the Germans by 2 goals at half-time, but Schulz's late intervention meant the Netherlands lost at home to Germany for the first time since '96. Well, the victory is good for self-confidence of our team. However, I still believe there's a lot of work to do. We have to continue on this path and work to improve discipline. It's very important to win. At the beginning of the qualification, that means it's been a good experience. The victory, of course, I feel, will help us in the coming weeks and months. World Cup finalist Croatia suffered a shock Euro 2020 qualifying defeat at Hungary, while Group E rivals Wales edged Slovakia in Cardiff. Robert Lewandowski helped Poland avoid an embarrassing draw against 131st ranked Latvia in Group G. Eden Hazard scored on appearance 100 for Belgium as the East passed Cyprus. Top seed Novak Djokovic saw off a brief rally from Federico Del Bonis to reach round 4 of the Miami Open. Djokovic was on easy street, a set and 3-1 up when he dropped serve twice in a row and lost the set. But the Serb, winner of the last 3 majors, won a succession of long rallies in the decider to down Argentine Del Bonis 7-5, 4-6, 6-1. The world number 1 faces Roberto Baptista Agut in the last 16. British number 1 Kyle Edmund impressed as he beat Milos Raonic in straight sets and reached the 4th round of the Miami Open. The 19th seed didn't face a single break point as Canada's Raonic struggled with a back injury. In blustering conditions, Edmund's forehand was key.